It's the last business day of the week. Welcome to Business Incorporated live from our headquarters here in Lagos. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwagu. On the show today, the International Monetary Fund raises South Africa's growth forecast for this year after recoveries in the agriculture and mining sectors. Angola's Sonangol cancels an auction of oil exploration licenses for 8 blocks. Plus, Royal Dutch Shell seeks to sell its gas field in Tunisia for some $500 million. Now let's get started. We'll begin with the markets, and let's look at the markets in Africa. Here in Nigeria, the oil share index lost its steam at intraday, down by 0.19%. This could be attributed to the losses recorded on the shares of blue chip companies like Nigerian breweries, Flour Mill, Oando and Zenith Bank at that time. Now in South Africa, the index was trading higher at intraday, up 0.19%. Egypt's index dropped 0.85% on Thursday as Tauta Mustafa Group, which is currently part of the MSCI Emerging Markets Index but will be removed on June 1, lost 2.8%. The largest Egyptian stock in the index, Commercial International Bank, fell 0.9%. Alkea was up 1.26% on Thursday. In the Middle East, stocks there were mostly exposed to foreign fund flows, followed global shares lower on Thursday, while the Saudi Arabian index, dominated by local investors, outperformed the region for the day and the week. Dubai's index lost 0.5% as most shares that are constituents of the MSCI Emerging Markets Index dropped. DXB Entertainment slumped 4.3% and MR Properties fell 0.8%. Members of the MSCI Emerging Markets Index were also weak in Abu Dhabi, with First Abu Dhabi Bank losing 0.4% and telecommunications operator Etisalat down 0.3%. The index closed 0.24% lower. In Qatar, 9 of the 11 MSCI Emerging Markets Index shares were down, with Commercial Bank declining 1%. The index fell 0.41%. Saudi Arabia's index lost 0.13%, with trading volume shrinking by a little over half from the previous session. 40 shares rose, 106 declined. However, the index outperformed Gulf peers for the week with a 0.8% gain. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump is due to visit Saudi Arabia in coming days, and some investors hope deals could be signed between Saudi and American companies in the mining, energy, auto, and defense sectors. Most announcements from the meeting, though, are expected to be about previously revealed deals or a memorandum of understanding rather than concrete new projects. On the European markets, we're looking up early on Friday as prices in the U.S. and Asia stabilized after a heavy sell-off in recent sessions. For details on the markets, let's bring in my colleague at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Daniel Koop. Good afternoon, Daniel. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, how are the European markets digging out of the mess created this week by the Trump administration?
Well, excellent question, Jimmy, and hello to you from Frankfurt. Yeah, the blue chip index DAX was influenced by all those scandals of Donald Trump actually heavily during this week. At the beginning of the week, when we heard even U.S. politicians asking for a possible impeachment of the president, shares here at the market were actually going down. Because we have to remember, when all of these discussions about Donald Trump happened, investors in general, you know, they like Donald Trump. They don't have anything against him. All those reforms that he announced, such the healthcare bill, such creating new jobs, such boosting the economy, that is always very welcome by investors and actually makes the heart of an investor actually jumping high. But he doesn't even have time to focus all on those issues. He's just, busy with all those scandals. So we saw at the beginning of the week the DAX, the blue chip index DAX, really being influenced by this. Today, actually, a little different picture. I had the chance to talk to an investor about this. He told me, of course, if an impeachment of Donald Trump would be happening, this would create at the beginning a downside of the markets. But at the end, since he doesn't get anything through, at the very end, it's not even going to be that different if he's there or if he's not. So we saw today the blue chip index DAX actually performing stronger. It's also up right now with plus 0.2%. Actually, to give you an idea about the strongest performer today is actually RWE. It's a giant energy company here in the country. And we have heard news today that they are thinking about a possible cooperation or even merging with a French energy giant Innogy. And this news was very appreciated and welcomed by investors. They see a huge potential about this, and that's why the share of RWE was up with almost 5% today.
Now, in the coming week, will the markets be inspired by President Trump's meeting with the Saudis, his trip to Israel, and the NATO meeting starting from today?
Yes, Donald Trump's first visit basically as a U.S. president to foreign countries. I actually saw an interesting article today in one of the German newspapers, and it was saying little Donald is going on a big trip. Interesting also about the trip, usually when a U.S. president is doing his first trip as president, he usually visits a close airline. That was before Mexico. This was before Europe. I guess to Mexico, he didn't even think about visiting with all this, discussion about a potential wall between the two countries. Now he chose the Middle East. And yeah, investors will be watching this trip very closely. You mentioned it earlier. He will be talking about a possible new cooperation when it comes to trade, also about oil he will be talking about as well. Also, he will be talking and giving a speech kind of about his opinion when it comes to Muslim people, because we remember he even wanted to have this travel ban happening between many Muslim countries and the United States. This was criticized by many Muslim countries in the past. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But, briefly speaking, all this trip will be overshadowed by his scandals that he is going through at the moment. So, yeah, we are going to monitor this very closely. Also, on the other hand, I do have to tell you, I was reading a statement a little bit earlier of Ivanka Trump, his daughter. He says, in general, Donald Trump is not even a person who really, likes traveling. He's more this kind of guy. He likes being at home. He likes to eat his own food and watch at night a good football game. So let's see what's going to happen.
Sure, we all here are actually looking forward to hear what Donald Trump would have to say, particularly when he gets to Saudi Arabia. Now, Daniel, let's look at the economic numbers coming in today in Europe. That's the Eurozone export reports, which came out today. Talk us through the numbers and what they mean.
Yeah, we're actually seeing the current account surplus of the Eurozone has shrunken a little bit from 37.8 billion euros to now 34.1 billion euros. That was actually reported by the central bank today, and it's still strong, but a little bit, down compared to the last year. This is actually something that is happening very often during winter time, because usually during that time export is also down. The biggest surplus was actually created by Germany, and that's one of the reasons that Germany has been criticized a lot by U.S. President Donald Trump. He doesn't like this at all, and that's the reason why he was always talking about those possible border taxes that he would like to see between some countries, such as Germany, such as China, when they're doing business with the United States. So let's see also what how this news is going to develop. So that's it from the business desk here in Frankfurt. We talked a lot about Donald Trump. It has been a wonderful week with you, Jimmy. Happy weekend. Back to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Daniel. I must say, it's been a wonderful week with you, too. Enjoy the rest of the day and, of course, have a wonderful weekend.